What's up, guys? This is Talkative Carl back again for a new series that I'm working on for the channel. It's something fun I've always been curious about doing for a hot minute, but just so you know, I'm not a doctor, but it's something fun. I thought it would be a nice little treat for you guys. Uh, Psychology on anime characters, which initially I wanted to do for like maybe just the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, but I thought no, I think like I can spread this out quite a bit. It's not gonna be so frequent because the heavy research involved in this. I'm not going in completely blind and ignorant, so please enjoy. It took a bit of work, but let's get started. Which one of my favorite rivals in all of anime, Seto Kaiba. Seto Kaiba, breaking it down with typical traits of his that is extremely negative, at least maybe somewhat negative, which breaks down to ego, pride, superiority complex, being raised as an orphan, family dynamics, abusive stepfather, and destroying the past. Let's break down the definitions of these traits here. Ego is a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. Inflated ego is an exaggerated estimate of your own value and importance. Pride is feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements of people closely associated, or from qualities or possessions widely admired. Superiority complex is a belief that your capabilities or accomplishments are somehow dramatically better than others. Kaiba is well known to have these negative traits throughout Duel Monsters. Of course, by the end of the series and the Dark Side of Dimensions movie, he's tempered that a bit. When Kaiba received his first loss to Yugi, he had to step away to reevaluate some things and get better as a duelist. When Mokuba was kidnapped by Pegasus and in the second season, Merrick, in his mind he thinks he's the only one who can save him. He refuses help from anyone until Kaiba is forced to rely on the help from others, like in the duel with Loomis and Umbra. Trusting is hard for Kaiba because despite his interactions with Yugi and his friends, he was set in his ways that he didn't need anyone. During the Battle City finals, it was Joey Wheeler who put it all out there. If Kaiba doesn't need anyone, it must also include Mokuba, the only family and confidant Kaiba has in his life. It was Mokuba in the end who pushes Kaiba into thinking about someone other than himself and help Yugi. You can see these trust issues sprout when Kaiba and Mokuba were little kids, fighting off bullies at the orphanage, and their stepfather, Gozaburo Kaiba, who spent most of his time putting Seto in grueling study sessions as a replacement for his biological son, Noah. Instead of being a real parent forming bonds of love and trust, he was cold to Seto. Whether or not Kaiba is willing to admit it, Yugi and the others have been through a lot together to not be friends, and Kaiba has to let go of his pride and be willing to trust others outside of his brother. Kaiba has always been a bright kid with promise. Thanks to Gozaburo's parenting, Kaiba became arrogant as he got older. Gozaburo had a final test for Seto to prove he's worthy of the name Kaiba and the Kaiba Corporation. Otherwise, he and Mokuba will be sent back to the orphanage. It's because of this intelligence he outsmarted his stepfather and took over his company. After that, Kaiba felt unstoppable, so of course he became prideful. Prideful of his skills as a duelist, of his company, and his intelligence. Now that doesn't mean Kaiba is completely without heart. He built Kaiba Land with his brother, and like they promised, orphans can go for free. When Joy was missing, Kaiba did recommend using Kaiba Corp satellite to track his dual disc. Being orphans, Kaiba had to be tough for Mokuba's sake. It was just the two of them, and Kaiba wanted to do whatever he could to get a better life for them. Although not connected to renowned psychiatrist Carl Jung's original 12 archetypes, the orphan is connected to his archetypes child and everyman. Unlike Harry Potter and Batman, Kaiba still has Mokuba, but still goes down the road of the orphan that leads to a pessimistic outlook on life because of past pain and suffering. But despite the pessimism, this can inspire the child to fight for justice and make a difference, as seen when establishing a park for people to enjoy and orphans to enter for free, as well as turning his stepfather's weapons company into a gaming company because he refuses to be a warmonger. This is similar to how Tony Stark changed his company. Gozaburo, as previously stated, was cruel to Kaiba. After his biological son Noah was hit by a car and mind digitized into a virtual world, Gozaburo put all his energy into grooming Seto, spending so much time into studying various academic fields, music, and sports, just like Noah. At least Noah could spend time sailing with his father. Seto couldn't even have any playtime and leaving little room to spend time with Mokuba. Refusing to study would result in both he and Mokuba back to the orphanage. This can lead to mental health effects in Seto and Mokuba later in their lives, such as depression, anger management, physical aggression, delinquency, and trouble maintaining relationships. Depression. Seto, thinking if he loses to Yugi, Pegasus will not return Mokuba's soul. So without his only family and support network, he would rather commit suicide. Anger management. Seto often talks down and disrespects people, especially duelists like Joey, even his own employees, threatening to fire them like in Dark Side of Dimensions movie for a container he crushed that apparently shouldn't be able to crush. This behavior, it seems, he inadvertently picked up from Gozaburo. Physical aggression. Seto can handle himself in a fight, but is seen every now and again using that skill on others he feels disrespected by. Once when he thought Mokuba betrayed him as kids while planning a takeover of Kaiba Corp, caused him to beat on his own brother. Delinquency. Challenging Yugi's grandfather, Solomon Muto, to a duel with Grandpa's Blue Eyes White Dragon as the prize. Solomon has health problems which caused him to go to the hospital after losing to Seto. Seto didn't care as long as he got the card, which he promptly tore up, further disrespecting Solomon's special connection with the card. Trouble maintaining relationships. Seto refuses to acknowledge any bonds forged between Yugi and his friends. However, he's shown to break away from this pattern at times, like saving Taya from a rare hunter. This at least proves he doesn't want them harmed. The site of the Battle City semifinals and finals took place on Alcatraz, or Duel Tower in the English dub. It originally was Gozaboro's military base, but after Seto took over as CEO, it was closed down. After the finals concluded, Seto set the island to self-destruct, thus ridding he and Mokuba's awful memories of living with Gozaburo and his cruelty. Prior to the Battle City event, Seto did have a cathartic moment of confronting his stepfather in a duel. And like chess, Seto outsmarted and outplayed the arbiter of his and Mokuba's misery. Some people who has problems with relatives, may be not to this scale, but you can relate, might gain something from having a healthy, calm conversation from a relative you feel some type of way with, to at least lay it all out. Or better yet, seek a therapist to try and mend the relationship if it can. As Yugi and others try to explain to him, it's the past that makes us who we are, and we can learn from it while not letting it control us. And that is the breakdown for Seto Kaiba and what little bit of psychosis he might be suffering from. But as I mentioned before, by the end of the series, into the Dark Side Dimensions movie, was kind of like a canonized epilogue to the whole Duel Monsters franchise, he has tempered that a bit. Still kind of arrogant, but like I said, like Tony Stark, he got that kind of smarm that we find charming, but it's not to the point to a villainous nature. So, hope you guys like this. There'll be more in the future. It's not gonna be a frequent thing, but every month or two you might see like a new video like this. Some from Yu-Gi-Oh, others from other anime franchises. But follow me on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. YouTube.com/TalkativeCarl, Twitch.tv/TalkativeCarl. Check out my Patreon, www.patreon.com/TalkativeCarl. If you want to further support the channel in various ways, or if you have like some kind of recommendations, you can check out the tier list. And you can also check out private videos that I put on the channel, you know, personal stuff about me. And yeah, and don't forget to click that notification bell, share this, talk about this with your friends. It'll help me out as well. And I will see you guys next time. Take care.